Today we're going to examine our inward thoughts and we're going to ask ourselves, is Elish Norn the new Elish Norn? Is she broken? Come on, dude. Nah. Alright man, when this little lady started getting spoiled, there was a report that Sheldon Menery, the godfather of the format, requested that the card not be printed. It's powerful and stacksy, doubling your ETB effects while preventing your opponent's entering the battlefield effects from triggering. I have some thoughts on this and I'll endeavor to present a reasoned, measured argument that Mom of Machines is fine. I don't do a lot of clickbait on this channel, and if you like what you're hearing, then like, subscribe, leave a comment, or buy me a coffee at the link in the description. Alright, Elish Norn costs 5 mana, and make no mistake brother, this is a powerful card for 5 mana, but absent any ramp or shenanigans, this is likely coming out on turns 4 to 5. It's a Torpor Orb, which is 2 generic mana for an artifact with a symmetrical effect, while Elish Norn is asymmetrical, with the restriction hitting only your opponents. That's a $10 card right now. The other half is a Panharmonicon, $6 card that's also asymmetrical. So together, Elish Norn is 6 mana worth of artifacts with a 4/7 Vigilant Body attached. I do have a Torpor Orb. I use it in my Talran deck. I don't have any ETB effects in that deck. It's primarily Spellslinger. It's a pain for my opponents to play around. Every time the Torpor Orb comes out, people are like, oh my gosh. But the thing is with that deck, it comes out on turn 2. It's a pain to play around. I do have 2 Panharmonicons, but currently don't have them in any decks. I use a lot of ETB effects. Everybody does. They're very powerful. But I don't have a dedicated Blink deck that leans on ETB effects, and Panharmonicon is a little too expensive to just stick in budget decks. None of this is to say it's a bad card, it's a great card. I just don't have a deck that I'm using it in right now. So before we ask ourselves whether Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, is unfair or broken, we need to contextualize it in the setting of similar cards. While it's certainly a deal for the 2 effects, shaving a card in 1 mana off Panharmonicon and Torpor Orb, and making the Torpor effect asymmetrical, very powerful. Additionally, Elish Norn is a creature with a creature body with all the attendant advantages and disadvantages of being a creature. Creatures are more vulnerable to board wipes, damage-based removal, and creature removal. Also, Elish Norn is locked to decks including white color identity, while the artifacts are colorless. Now contrast this with Opposition Agent, another cheap, effective answer to another popular commander mechanic, Tutors. This is a mechanic that provides consistency in a 100-card singleton format. So this is 2 and a black for a creature, human rogue, it's a 3/2 with flash. You control your opponents while they're searching their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though mana of any color to cast them. People who run this card play in metas where they're facing tutors, and those effects are incredibly powerful. Those went unchecked for a long time prior to this card being printed. If you're relying on tutors against a black deck, you have to be prepared to face this now. I like to think of Elish Norn in a similar context, checking a commander mechanic that went on for way too long being unchecked, that of enter the battlefield effects. Any way you think about it, it's a powerful card that does a lot for 5 mana. On an empty board, your opponents need to play around it if their deck does include ETB effects. The value that you can accrue thanks to doubling your own ETB effects is also pretty incredible. But is it broken? I don't think so. As a commander, we can all see this coming, and the deck will be locked into mono white, which is a difficult color and has inherent weaknesses as all colors do. Now, if your commander deck relies heavily on enter the battlefield effects, what removal are you running, you silly goose? We should all be running removal of one sort or another. The difference between good and mediocre players is knowing when to use it. If the Elish Norn player is poised to glean incredible value, removing Elish Norn is reasonable. This commander actually underscores the importance of running good removal that locks up the commander and makes them forest like Song of the Dryads, Imprisoned in the Moon, Oubliette. The Elish Norn player is effectively hamstrung. The rest of the table can do its thing. Any commander deck is packing some interaction, hopefully at instant speed, to safeguard against crippling creatures like this. But the dice to removal argument is old, lame, and over-offered in response to powerful effects like this. I did want to touch on it though, just to remind people that these effects exist. A well-rounded commander deck has some way to deal with problem permanence. Period. Alright man, so what turn is Elish Norn coming out? Probably turns 4 to 5 maybe. Let's examine a few scenarios from decks that I use personally to illustrate what broken nonsense commander decks are capable of by the time Elish Norn is ready to make her grand entrance and start abusing some ETB effects. The Torpor Orb restriction effect is great, but an Elish Norn player is going to use her to gain value from their own ETB effects. You know what their deck's going to be all about. Alright, and is it smart to run this out on turns 4 or 5 and just let it sit there for a whole go around the table? Probably not, dude. People are going to be digging for answers, and most of the answers out there aren't ETB effects. In order to gain value from Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, you need at least 6 to 7 mana to ensure at least one doubling effect occurs. And if it's a 1 to 2 mana effect, chances are it isn't going to be that powerful. Elish Norn gets more powerful when you're copying things that cost upwards of 4 mana. Take a look at the perfectly legal broken stuff I've been doing forever, before or on turn 5, and don't come in here saying, oh geez, you're using 3 cards, you're getting soul rings, blah blah blah, when Elish Norn is 1 card. Bro, Elish Norn does almost nothing except that Torpor Orb effect by herself. She needs other cards too, and it's kind of a support card herself anyways. Alright, I got this Belby deck, right? Turn 1 I run out Night Market Lookout or one of a number of effects like that. Turn 2 is Belby. Attack with the Night Market Lookout and I can cast a 6 mana rock like Dreamstone Hedron, but let's say for the sake of argument I have a Hedron Archive instead. Turn 3, this is where I get a little spicy. I attack with Night Market Lookout and Johnny Spinglepants over there blocks it and it dies. I don't care. And now I have 11 mana second main phase. Well, you know your boy Nicky G is packing Torment Hailfire. That's an X value equal to 9, and don't say this is Magical Hanukkah land because I've done this multiple times. The whole deck is made to do dumb stuff like this. I have done exactly this, and people are still traumatized to this day. I didn't use any ETB effects, so my opponents are down to 13 on turn 3. Man, that's awful. Note, this deck is known by me to be a little spikier so I don't bust it out against precons or newer players. Now I got this other deck, Kodama and Crom. This is my K-Clones deck. I do rely on ETB effects, so I'd have to remove this lady or my deck is neutered. But the other answer to an Elish Norn is to get an Elish Norn of your own. I'm no judge, keep that in mind. But I believe if I clone my buddy Sethron's Elish Norn with, say, Rite of Replication, the second ability would apply to both of us. The first ability is effectively moot, we're not doubling anything. So if my deck leans on clone effects and is hamstrung, well, now yours is hamstrung too, buddy. If Elish Norn isn't out yet, that same deck has a number of infinites using ETB effects. Okay, let's take a look at Lazav the Multifarious. It's a blue and a black for a legendary creature shapeshifter. When Lazav the Multifarious enters the battlefield, Surveil 1. Has X, Lazav the Multifarious becomes a copy of target creature card in your graveyard with mana value X, except its name is Lazav the Multifarious, it's legendary in addition to its other types, and it has this ability. Okay, turn 1 I get Phyrexian Dreadnought in the graveyard. Turn 2 I get this idiot out. Turn 3, we're swinging with a 12/12 Phyrexian Dreadnought Lazav backed up by counter magic. Dang dude, that's broken, it costs way less mana than the last thing I'd describe. And guess what, in that same deck I have a super secret Necrotic Ooze, Palladium Myrrh, and Pili Pala combo. If I can bury alive those 3, Lazav can generate infinite mana on turn 4, mill everyone out with Mind Shrieker. That's utterly broken, and no ETB effects were used. Oh my god dude, Kydel chosen a Crufix. A Frufix can do incredibly broken stuff by turn 5 with no ramp whatsoever. If she can untap on turn 5 unmolested, it's wheel time and I'm going to try to slap Umbral Mantle or one of the other redundant effects onto her. If I can generate 4 or more colorless mana, that's infinite colorless on turn 5. You can just imagine what I'm going to do with that. I'll tell you a little secret, it's going to be draw more cards and then fireball, baby. Now this is super secret broken tech, but I also have a wheel deck with Smothering Tithe. So I wheel, everyone draws 7 cards, that's great, but I get 21 treasures on turn 5 and a new hand to keep going. And you got Bralin Sky Shark Rider. It's a legendary creature, human shaman, 3 and a red for a 3/3. It's got partnered with Shabraz the Sky Shark. Whenever you discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on this guy and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Target shark gains trample until end of turn for a red mana. So what you do basically is you slap Curiosity on this guy. Then you do a wheel effect and you're dealing damage to everybody and you're drawing cards. You go to your end step and you have to clean up over and over again. Listen, I'll show you what kind of absolute psychopath monster I am. I put a Freed from the Real on Zaxara in an X-Spell deck. God, maybe I am a monster. I do broken things all the time. None of this stuff is banned. Nobody really bats an eyelid as long as everybody else is doing broken stuff too. And listen man, that's one of the fun things about Commander. You have access to a million different ways to do dumb broken things. In context, would you use your own removal spell? Say you had a Swords to Plowshares. Would you use it on Elish Norn or any of the stuff that I listed? I mean, really think about it. If you let me go off, it's probably going to be game over with any of the stuff I said. If Elish Norn goes off, well, maybe it's game over as well. I don't know, but probably not. It needs a little more setup. but that's also part of the fun, taking advantage of a newly deposed arch enemy. So if you take my guy out and I'm sitting there, doing nothing, maybe Elish Norn goes off and wins, who knows? I listed a few examples of things I've done in my day, but these are only some of the things I've been able to do on turn 5 or so. Turn 6 to 8, every commander deck should be closing in on their win conditions. And for those slower decks, it's even more important to be running a few pieces of removal or even running a repeatable removal engine. Or, hear me out here, depending on color and deck archetype, consider running a few hate pieces of your own. If your meta features lots of draw engines and wheels, consider some draw punish effects. If your meta relies on ETBs and they go unchecked, consider Torpor Orb or the old Elish Norn. If your meta features way too many landfall effects, consider running Ankh of Mishra or something like that, Zozu the Punisher, or just run some land destruction effects, who cares? You know what I mean? It's a valid line of play. Anybody who says the social contract stuff is just that's just because green has a good union, no matter what anybody says. So I want to hear what you all think. Is Elish Norn eating a swords, or are you saving it for another terrifying creature? Let me know in the comments below, and take care of yourselves out there, alright? Magic is a real jungle. Don't get eaten by the alpha predators of the magic world. And remember, everyone's trying to win somehow, but communicate with each other about how you want to win. Don't bring a bazooka to a bubblegum fight. If everybody's playing precons, don't bring your Toon combo deck. Snicky G from Better Commander, signing off.